Hey all, Bree from the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I have got a gift for you this holiday season. If you love the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I mean love the No Guilt Mom podcast, then tell us about it. Leave us a review, and you can be entered to win a No Guilt Mom gift card. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and then simply go to noguiltmom.com/review to enter our giveaway for a free No Guilt Mom gift card, simply for telling us what you think about the podcast. It is amazing. But don't delay. Get right on this, as we're going to be giving away that No Guilt Mom gift card on December 21st. So get right on over and visit noguiltmom.com/review.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, Joanne Crone, joined here by my amazing co-host, Bree Tucker.
Hello. I can't even do it. Hello, everybody. How are you? I like that.
I'm glad I got you off. I got you.
I'm always the one who's trying to mess with you, and you got me this time. I wasn't even looking at you. I'm like, I missed the whole thing.
It works.
Oh, God.
Well, I think that I have to do something to cheer you up because, guys, we're recording this the day after the Super Bowl.
Oh, I know. My heart just was ripped out of my chest yesterday being a Chiefs fan. It was, you know what's funny? So my boyfriend was there with us, and this is the first time he's gotten to sit through a major playoff game. Like, well, I guess he sat through the ones this year, but he missed the Super Bowl last year with me. We'll just say that. And I want to say, like, halfway through the second quarter, he's like, Bree, it's not looking so good. And I'm like, I just turned and I was dead serious angry at him. I'm like, you cannot be a Chiefs fan if you're giving up already. Like, we are fourth quarter, 3 minutes left, then you can call it. Then you can throw in the towel, but not before that.
It's so funny because you have these special shoes that you always wear, and you always post, like, on Facebook and Instagram. You're like, I got my shoes on, and they honestly, they look like the most uncomfortable shoes ever. But
they are. They're cute as hell, but they are uncomfortable. They are like 4-inch heels with like a little bit of a platform on the front. And they really have been lucky. Last night, the Super Bowl was the first game they haven't worked for in over a year.
Oh, man. That had to have been something else going on there.
It was also painful. Like, it was painful physically and emotionally. So, yes, you're right. It was rough. And then, like, I had a poopy morning, too. So, literally, poop was involved in the morning. So,
I hate those mornings.
Yeah. So, it's been a rough 24 hours, to say the least. Yeah.
Yes. Well, we're gonna make it better. We're gonna make it better right now.
Bum, bum, bum.
And we're talking today about cooling down when it comes to yourself and cooling down when it comes to your kids, especially when we get into these fights where they're like they feel all out wars, and your kids get so emotionally turbulent. Like, it's screaming, it's crying, it's yelling, and we're all told, okay, just calm down. And like, what does that calm down phrase get you? No, I'm not gonna calm down.
I don't need it. My daughter's favorite. Don't tell me to breathe. Breathing doesn't work. I think it does. But yeah, no. And you know what, too? I mean, I'm not just going to say about the kids. How many of us as parents have had our flip our lid moments where we're like, we are so upset.
I get it all the time.
We see red.
I have to like walk away many times when I'm in some arguments with my kids. I mean, just like a few weeks ago, we got into this argument where my son refused to fold his laundry. And
man, laundry is like,
but he refused to fold it. And I was about to go to war over him not folding his laundry. Because first of all, I'm not folding his laundry. Right. He is 7. We have folded laundry together forever. I was even offered to help him fold his laundry.
Right.
He just needed to pick a time we could do it together. And he didn't want to do it. And I had to walk away so many times just as myself because I was going to say something I regretted. And it ended by I finally calmed down and I was talking to my husband. I'm like, am I making this a really big deal? Like, should I be going to war over this one? And he says, no, like, it doesn't affect anyone but him if he doesn't fold his laundry.
And didn't he, I'm going to throw this out there. Didn't he also throw out the phrase to you, you can't make me?
You can't make me. Oh,
I hate that phrase.
I almost lost it. Like,
it almost feels like it's a bet, doesn't it?
I'm
it
like,
almost feels like
it.
yeah, like, you can't make me. Oh, you want to bet?
You want to bet? I can
And
do a
then-
lot of things.
And then logic like comes in once the emotion comes out of it, and the logic that comes in is like, yeah, this really, like you said, like
Yeah.
once you talk to your husband, you're like, ah.
But there were like two instances in particular where I had to walk away because I knew
Right.
like I was getting so angry. And we're going to go into how you can tell if you're going to get into that zone of being so angry. But one was the you can't make me.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one was he told me that he would fold it on like a Monday when I was working, and he didn't do it. And I brought that up. I'm like, you promised you would fold it. He's like, I never said promise.
Oh,
I had to walk away
let me
again.
just take that knife out of my heart for a moment.
Oh, I was gonna say stuff that I regretted, but you know what? When we take time and we cool down, we maintain our relationship with our kids, which is the most
Right.
important thing because we're playing the long game here. We're not playing the short game of trying just to get him fold his laundry. It's the long game of having a long-term influence over his behavior and keeping those lines of communication open.
You know, this reminds me of Scrubs. Did you ever watch Scrubs?
Yes.
And how he would always have those fantasies in his head about things, like the fantasies you would see in my head when my kids say stuff like that to me, like I never promised or I never did. Oh my gosh, in my head. But you know,
Yes.
cooler heads prevail.
Cooler
so anyway,
heads. So that's what we are going to be talking about today. It's going to be so great for you because you're going to walk away with a strategy first to cool down and how to teach your kids to cool down and how to know when to teach your kids to cool down. Because
Fabulous.
there's all these times. So before we get started, let's do a quick shout out, Bree.
Okay.
First, we so appreciate you listening to our podcast. It makes us so happy, especially when we hear from you either by email, when you send us emails to hello@noguiltmom.com about things you want to see on the podcast, or you leave us reviews. So
those
gonna-
reviews, there are big fuzzy virtual hugs, people.
they totally are. So we're going to read one of those reviews right now as a shout out. So
Okay, all right. So I'm going to read this one from In Love with Apple. In Love with Apple says, great advice for all moms. I absolutely love Brie and Joanne. Their guests are fantastic, and I love their easy conversation. I highly recommend this podcast for all moms.
yay!
Well, thank you. You know what? I'm in love with apples too. So thank you. Thank you so much.
We'd love to hear from you. So if you have a few minutes, rate us and hopefully we earn your 5 stars and leave us a review because we can't wait to give you a shout out.
Right, right. And you know what else though too? Like the more that we've already said this before, but seriously, the more people that come in and at least give us like a review or rating, it helps us share it with other moms.
It does,
This
yes.
really, really helps us reach out a lot. So
It is a
love
no guilt
it.
mom revolution.
I know we are starting a movement here, people.
Yes. So now let's get on with the show.
You want mom life to be easier. That's our goal too. Our mission is to raise more self-sufficient and independent kids, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to help you delegate and step back. Each episode will tackle strategies for positive discipline, making our kids more responsible and making our lives better in the process. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom Podcast.
Okay, cooling down. This is such a hard subject. First, because it's hard to cool down when you're used to flipping your lid.
Yeah.
And reacting to everything. I mean, I had a boss who was a reactor and she admitted that she was a reactor because I said, like, anytime I get a horrible email, I have to step away and think about it. I can't react. Like, I can't write back right away. And she's like, oh, I just fire off the first thing I said. And I look at her and I'm like, I know you do. I know you fire off the first thing you think. Like, so cooling down is such an important thing because we love Dr. Dan Siegel and Dr. Tina Payne Bryson.
Yes.
They are the authors of The Whole Brain Child and many, many other amazing books. I mean, No Drama Discipline, The Yes Brain, like they're amazing. And Tina Payne Bryson has been on the podcast, episode number 24. If you want to take a look at hers, but they have this concept and they talk about it a lot in The Whole Brain Child about the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain.
And you know, to even give that a little bit more of a crossover, I'm a certified positive discipline instructor for parents, and we talk about it a lot in positive discipline as well. It's a phenomenal concept, and it really does help you kind of be like, yep, That's exactly what happens when I get upset. And what I also love about it is the little hand gesture. I'm always making my little hand gestures with it for the little flip your lid.
A fist and then you open your hand and that's the flip your lid.
It's like the Girl Scout honor when you have your hand open.
Yeah.
But anyways, the point is about how the brain works.
But once you know the reasoning behind how the brain works, you're going to better be able to stay cool yourself and know that you're on the right path by giving these tips and strategies. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes as a parent, like you try something and you see, oh my gosh, it's not working. I must be doing it wrong and I need to change everything that I do. When really, you just need to give it time. So when you know this strategy behind it and what you're working with, you're going to be able to give it that time.
Hey, Aubrey here, and I wanted to share one of my favorite gifts to give during the holiday season, a Storyworth book. It is the most amazing gift ever. Storyworth is an online service that lets you create a special and unique gift of someone's story. I've given Storyworth books to both of my parents, and it has been their favorite gift, hands down. And did I mention it is so easy? Storyworth emailed my parents questions every week that I handpicked from their massive list of questions that they have. All my parents had to do was open their email and answer them. That easy. I asked my dad questions like, did you have any rules that you set for yourself as a parent, which you immediately broke? And he did. I even asked both of my parents, are you more like your mom or your dad? And they shared a lot of really amazing qualities that I didn't know about my grandparents at the time. Then at the end of the year, Storyworth compiles all of their answers, puts them into this gorgeous book that covers everything. My parents love showing us their books, and I personally love getting a chance to read them. With Storyworth, I am giving those I love a thoughtful and personal gift from the heart that preserves their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/NGM and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/NGM to save $10 on your first purchase.
We're hitting that time of year where my brain gets so overloaded in December that I look for anything to make life easier. And I have to say, Brie, that Green Chef is one of those services.
Yes, Green Chef is there to take away the dreaded, oh my goodness, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight? You can eat clean all holiday long with over 80 weekly meal options each week, featuring things like quick and easy, protein-packed, calorie-smart, or my personal favorite, the keto options.
And you don't have to lose track of healthy eating habits during the holidays because every Green Chef customer gets a free session with one of their registered dietitians who can walk you through how to make clean eating work for you, which is very cool.
And I have to say that I have been loving their recipes lately. They put things together I have never thought of. This week, we're trying the lemon basil caper pork with sauteed cauliflower, bell peppers, almonds, and feta cheese, my favorite. Their recipes make it so easy to support my wellness goals without skipping on flavor.
For Green Chef's best deal of the year, get $250 off with code NGM250 at greenchef.com/NGM250. That's greenchef.com/NGM250. And don't forget to use that code NGM250 to get $250 off.
Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well.
So first, you have a downstairs brain and you have an upstairs brain. That downstairs brain, it's right at the back of your head. Like if you go to the back of your head and you move up that base of your skull, that's where your downstairs brain is. And that includes all your emotional instincts and reactions.
That is the oldest part of your brain.
It's the oldest part. It went back to like caveman times and before that. Like
yes. This fight or flight, it's emotional. It also maintains all of the critical life supports as well, like breathing, swallowing, like all those things.
Yeah, it wants to keep you from danger.
Wants to keep you alive.
So when you're like approached with a dangerous situation or when something threatens you, that limbic system goes into effect, that downstairs brain, and it's like, fire, fire, fire. And it wants to save you.
Right. And unfortunately, our body thinks that we're under fire sometimes when we're dealing with stress from our kids.
Yes, exactly.
Stress from anything, but I'm picking on our kids because we're moms here. So,
so the thing that stops us from reacting is our upstairs brain. And that's right, like by your forehead. It's where your cerebral cortex is. It's where all your decision making occurs.
Oh, and we get this one at a young age, right? Like this one comes in when we're like, 4 or 5, right?
It takes a while for this one to develop.
Note the sarcasm, people.
Yes. And what takes even longer for this to develop is if you think of like a set of stairs between your downstairs brain and your upstairs brain. When you're young, that set of stairs isn't very complete yet. So that you have a really, really hard time regulating your emotions because your upstairs brain and your downstairs brain, they don't talk to each other very well. And the upstairs brain is unfinished. It's like an attic. Really, the upstairs brain, like that unfinished attic in a home.
Can I just say, I think I know some adults too that don't quite have their stairs finished yet either.
And they don't have the strategies in place to like help them communicate with both like parts of your brain. So your upstairs brain, as I said, it's all your decision making. It's the thing that says, calm down. This isn't a big deal. Joanne, don't go nuts over folding laundry. This isn't worth it. That's the upstairs brain talking. And as long as the two are communicating, sometimes the upstairs brain can keep downstairs in check and tell it,
Right.
don't overreact to this. Don't yell. Don't scream. Don't run away. Don't shut down. You got this. But sometimes they can't.
Nope. And then that's when you have your lovely little explosions.
Yes.
We have our moments that as parents aren't exactly our proudest moments. We tend to have like a lot of that drama going on. That's where you hear the yelling, the screaming, or stomping off, doors slamming. Mm-hmm. It happens across the board.
So something that they discuss in The Whole Brain Child are these zones that you get into. And the regulated zone, the zone where you make very rational decisions and you're calm, that's your green zone.
Okay.
Your green zone, like your upstairs brain, your downstairs brain are talking to each other. You're not overwhelmed with emotion. But say something happens, like your child tells you that they can't make you, they can, like you can't make them fold their laundry. You might start moving to another zone. And there are two zones actually on each side of the green zone, and you might tend to go to one more than the other. The first one's the red zone. That's where you blow up. That's the yelling. That's the screaming.
Yes, I'm seeing it in my head and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go back to the red zone right now because I can think back to like a million arguments I've had with my kids in recent times, or even just an eye roll. Mm-hmm. Oh, that puts you in the red zone.
Oh yeah, the red zone. So when you get to the red zone, you know that, okay, my downstairs and upstairs brain, they are not communicating right now.
Right.
When you see your kids in the red zone and they're having a tantrum and they're screaming and they're crying, their upstairs brain and downstairs brain isn't communicating either. So here's the important part. No amount of reasoning with your child about why this isn't important or why this isn't a big deal or how to calm down, nothing is going to get through to them because their upstairs brain and downstairs brain, they're not talking to each other right now.
Well, and let's just take a moment to reflect on that as a parent, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so think back to a time where you've had an argument, and I'm going to pick more than likely your partner. I think it happens more with our partners than with our kids, but it can be kids, whichever you want. Have you ever been where you've been having a discussion with them and you are genuinely upset about something and they tell you, the feedback you get is, calm down.
Oh my gosh.
It's not that big of a deal.
No.
You're making a big deal out of nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make you want to calm down? Does that make you, have you ever, really, let's be honest, people, have you ever been able to go, oh, you're right. my bad.
My bad. This isn't a big deal at all.
Duh.
Yeah.
No,
never.
No. You're too upset at that moment. You might hear them. The best that you could get is like, all right, I hear you, but right now, don't need this.
Exactly.
And you might shut down. You might walk away because, again, you're in that red zone.
You're in the red zone. Now, you might be one who goes to the blue zone instead of the red zone. Like you go the opposite direction and you freeze and you shut down. It's like that fight or flight. This is your flight mode. You freeze and shut down. You don't deal with the situation whatsoever. And that's not the best zone to be in either.
Nope.
Your upstairs brain and downstairs brain, they're not talking to each other in that zone. They're saying like, oh, I refuse to acknowledge a situation. It's too much for me. I need to run.
Oh my gosh, yes. And who's been in that situation either, where you've been like talking to, again, I'm going to pick on the spouse part. You're talking to your spouse about something, or you guys are having a very lively discussion, and then they just shut down.
Yeah.
And they just stop talking. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, do you not care? What's happening? It tends to make you also, you're very emotionally charged. So,
yes.
Yeah.
So either zone, you're emotionally charged. So it helps to know if you're going into one of those zones or not. If you're leaving the green zone at any time, where I felt myself leaving that green zone with the laundry, I had to tell my son, I'm upset. I can't talk about this right now, and leave the room. And that's really a great strategy because you are not going to say something you regret. I had so many things to say at that time that I was like, oh, no, you didn't.
Right.
And you have time for your upstairs brain and downstairs brain to start communicating again. Because when you're in that state of raw emotion, all you want to do is like first prove the other person wrong.
Of course.
That's always where I go.
Yeah. I think human nature,
Yeah,
you're like, I have to prove that my point was valid.
exactly.
Yeah. You know what I find helps? Walking off and having that conversation with myself.
Yeah.
I sound
Like what?
crazy. Well, like if I go now, granted, you know me so well, Joanne, that I do not have this capability to do this all the time. But sometimes I can be in a good enough spot where I can, like you just said, walk away.
Yeah.
And I'll go into my room and I'll lay down for a few minutes. I just lay down and I try to breathe. Sometimes I'll listen to music, whatever. And then I will literally have the conversation with myself. Bree, she said this. What does that mean? Okay, well, it means this. Okay, is that going to like ruin everything? Well, no. She's just going to end up going to school tomorrow with like, wrinkled clothes, and then she's going to be mad at me and we'll get in a fight and I'll remind her that it was her choice not to fold her clothes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm good. Like I can walk through it.
Oh, that's a good way to do it.
Sometimes, but I sound like a crazy person. I would imagine if you were standing outside my door, you would be like, okay, she has lost it. Because I'm having a 2-person conversation with myself.
I find the only way for myself, like that I get off it, is I have to forgive everybody. And it's really crazy. Like, because I'm a ruminator, I will go back through situations again and again and again and be like, oh, I should have said this differently, or I should have said that differently. And that hasn't helped me in the past. So I just have to forgive. And it's actually from a book. It's called Get Rich, Lucky Bee. And it's by Denise Duffield Thomas, who's coming on the podcast, which we're so excited. But she has this forgiveness mantra. And you go back and you feel all the feelings that you feel. And then you say like, thank you. I forgive you. I love you. And there's one more that I'm forgetting in there. But it's just going through that each time those feelings come up so that you forgive the person or you forgive the situation or you even forgive yourself and like stop getting on yourself for not doing something correctly.
Stop feeling guilty, perhaps?
Yes. So I've been trying that lately and I find it helps. It's not like an immediate thing, but it does help me get back faster.
I like the verbiage being used in that, especially because, again, we're talking about upstairs, downstairs brain, losing your cool in all kinds of situations. But I feel like it happens a lot with our family, right? We lose our cool a lot with those that we feel the most emotionally comfortable with.
Yes.
So I would tend to get more emotionally involved in a discussion / argument, whatever, with my kids or with my partner. And I do love those people.
Yeah.
So reminding yourself that you love them I think is a huge factor in that forgiveness. Reminding yourself that
I love you.
Yeah. I love you and I'm not going to let laundry ruin our relationship.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
it's a really important thing.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. It is so hard to raise kids who know how to manage money. Bree, right now, my kids are all about earning money for presents. My daughter wants to get presents for all of her friends, and my son is doing a Secret Santa with his friends.
Oh, I hear you. And if you're looking to raise kids that are financially responsible, we have got a lifesaver recommendation for you that you need to check out. It is Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families that gives kids and teens an easy and fun way to gain financial literacy, all while giving parents peace of mind.
You can send instant money transfers, automate allowance, and even keep an eye on kids' spending with real-time notifications. Meanwhile, your kids can begin their journey towards financial autonomy by learning how to save, invest, and spend wisely.
So sign up for Greenlight today and get your first month free when you go to greenlight.com/NGM.
That's greenlight.com/NGM to try Greenlight for free. Greenlight.com/NGM. My son is playing a game right now on his computer where he's a thief and the cops are after him. So I'm so excited about this new app, Give As We Grow, where instead of being the quote unquote bad guys, kids are practicing giving back.
That is so cool, Joanne. I really wish that there was something like this when my kids were younger that got them excited about giving back to others and helped them build a better understanding of what it really means to volunteer.
Give As We Grow is the first of its kind free educational mobile app for children ages 8 to 11 that teaches kids via fun, service-focused minigame quests to tap into their unique talents and interests to help others.
And did you know that studies show that there is a biological connection between generosity and happiness, and that volunteering improves people's physical and mental health? I mean, kids who volunteer typically do better in school and are less likely to engage in risky behaviors. And that is something that I think we all want for our kids.
Ready to spark a new movement in generosity? Find and download Give As We Grow for free in the App Store for Android and iOS. And for resources for the whole family, visit giveaswegrow.org.
So those two things, recognize your upstairs brain and downstairs brain, and know when you leave your zone. And those are two things to teach kids as well. And if you need help teaching your kids this, we have a great course called Emotions 911, where we talk about all of this. And we'll put the link to that in the show notes. So that brings us to the third thing is teaching kids how to calm down and teaching ourselves how to calm down. And finding those strategies that work.
Huge. And I think that's a big factor right there. So let's talk about these, and then we can be like relaying back to when and how they work for us.
Yes. Right? So like everybody doesn't cool down in the same ways. There are different things that cool me down, I'm sure, then cool you down, then cool like my kids down. And the trick is finding those things, because a lot of the times we're so used to feeling mad and upset about a situation that we don't realize that we have control over those really strong emotions that we're feeling. We think it is something outside of us. We think it's, that person's fault for causing it. Or if only this was fixed, I wouldn't feel this way. When really it is our own emotions that we can calm ourselves down.
Right. It 100% is. It would be so much nicer if you could just blame everything that goes wrong on outside environment, but you can't.
You can't. So you have to find a few calm down strategies that work for you. So things like belly breathing, like laying on your back, putting your hand on your diaphragm and just breathing in and out and watching your hands rise and fall really slowly. That's a great calm down technique. I use belly breathing. Do you use belly breathing?
I do. I use it where I'm thoughtful of my breaths. So I do a lot of like just trying to be thoughtful that I'm breathing all the way in. And more so, I do visualization of my lungs filling up like a balloon. It was a technique I used to teach in my community classes for kids, where you tell them to imagine. Well, for the really little ones, I taught them to believe that, or to envision that they are a balloon. So they would put their hands on their head, and as you breathe in and the belly goes out, they're inflated. I'm like, you can't see me, obviously, but I have my hands on my head and my hands are getting bigger, like I'm inflating a balloon.
Yeah.
And then as you breathe out, they go down.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So
that's very relaxing just watching you do that.
Yeah. It's very good for little kids, and for adults, it can work too. What I like to do actually is I lay on my back, but instead of focusing on the belly, I focus on the chest. So I put my hands on my chest and I feel my chest expand and go down. That's just what works for me.
I like that.
It's the exact same thing, just a different body part.
Just a different body part.
On.
And then removing yourself from the situation. I have to do that one a lot.
That's my favorite one, actually, because I find it's most effective for me. Because it's standing there and seeing, especially if you've got a tween, because that's when the lovely eye rolls and just the little body language that pokes at you comes in.
It's like when you have a tween, and I'm just getting here because I think my daughter, I heard you talk about all these things and oh, my daughter's not there yet, but now she's there. She's just younger than everyone else. And now it's coming. But you just feel like nothing you do is good enough for your kid when they get to a tween. Everything is met with eye rolls, or every little tone thing. It's like a judgment on you as a parent. So coming from the transition of having your kids think you're amazing to, you don't know anything, it's hard.
Oh my goodness, yes. So whenever I can do the removing myself, it works really well. Yeah. Except for when I'm stuck in the car.
That's a hard one.
That's a rough one. But anyway.
It's only a phase, right? It's only a phase.
I keep telling myself that.
And there's lots of good parts too. There's so many good parts. There are. It's not all bad. It's just this one little thing right now is really hard to deal with.
Right.
Walking, some physical movement, that does it for me.
I really do enjoy a short, brisk walk. Sometimes I will fight it because I'll tell myself I'm too busy with other things going on. But really, every time I do it, I feel better.
You feel better, yeah.
Every time.
And then music. Music is something my son has been going to lately. He plugs in his Kindle and he listens to actually Disney music is his favorite.
That's awesome.
And it doesn't work all the time. He has to be in the mood for the music to calm him down.
Yeah. That can be, I'm trying to think, I used to when I had a really bad day at work. So this wasn't necessarily a stress about one exact situation with a kid, but again, if I had like a really stressful day at work and I was like, oh my goodness, I would drive home to the loudest punk music I could find and I would roll down all the windows and I would be screaming the chorus line.
Oh my gosh.
Just screaming at the top of my lungs. And I'm sure, I know a few times when I was at stoplights, people would literally do that whole thing where they turn and look at you sideways like, you were crazy.
That's okay.
And I would just be, I wouldn't stop because I needed to get it out. And then by the time I got home, I felt like 1,000,000 pounds lighter.
Yeah, because
So
you have
much
to
of
get
that
like
stress.
all that energy out. Definitely.
Right. I wouldn't do that in front of my kids, the screaming, because I think that would scare them. But I did do it in the car when I was by
But you
myself.
can talk to
It was
them about
nice.
it. Like, I think something that's good to help kids cool down is to really be open about how you cool down.
Yes. And letting them know, I think a huge thing for kids, because again, I run into this with both of my kids. So I'll tell them a technique and they seem to think for whatever reason that that's the only technique out there. And I'm like, no, there's a bazillion different ways that you can try it. And then there's even like the, when you're dealing with anxiety overwhelming, the 5 elements that technique that I have with my son. Where
yeah.
like, you put your feet on the ground, that's earth. You take a drink of water, that's water. You breathe in for air, and then you fire up your imagination and think of a happy place, and that helps you calm down. So there's so many different techniques you can use. Some of them work in some situations, some don't. Some of them work with certain people. Like again, I have found that with my daughter, when her and I get into a conflict, the walking away is the most effective for me. Whereas in other places I could do the breathing or whatever, but it just depends. There's so many. Yeah. So reminding them that there's different options.
Yep, and it depends on the situation too, and it depends on the time of day, and it depends on how tired you are and how hungry you are, and it just depends, and there's not one way to cool down, but knowing your options.
And I think
is a good thing.
Yeah. And I think that you really hit the point there when you talk about the more that we talk about it and show our kids us doing it, the more regular it becomes. I think you'll totally agree with this one. The more that we talk to our kids and just say like, you need to calm down. These are different techniques to try. The less likely they're going to listen.
Oh yeah, they shut that out pretty quick.
But the more that they actually just see us doing it, maybe we do a little bit of that internal monologue and we say it out loud of like, okay, I'm going to breathe.
I do that. That works so well because they look at you like you're a crazy person, but that means that you have their attention at that moment.
Right. And they're watching you. Right. And if they see that once it was done, you were able to go through the conversation and that we were able to do it without losing our cool, without yelling, without giving unreasonable punishments, which I think we all at some point have been that's it, you're never leaving your room again.
Oh yeah. My first instinct was like, fine, I won't do anything for you ever again.
Right.
But, yeah,
because you want them to feel the pain you're feeling.
Yeah.
But again, the more that you say this all the time, like the more that we actually do these things, physically do them in front of our kids, and we actually add in the dialogue that we normally would have quietly in our head, but we try to let them hear some of that internal dialogue, the better it is for them. That's a way better teaching technique than me saying, okay, now breathe.
Or it's a better way than thinking like you never struggle with it. Like my kids
know, right?
always see me struggle with my reactions and my emotions. So they see that, oh, that's a normal thing. Like there's nothing wrong with me that I feel this mad right now. But here's someone else who's struggling with it and this is what they're doing. Okay, I'm going to try that.
I think that's a really huge thing because chances are if you were to sit down and talk to your kids tonight, almost any age, they're probably going to tell you that you don't have trouble losing your temper.
Yeah.
That you don't have as much as they do. And it's because they perceive that you don't because you have these calming techniques.
Yeah, and just talking about them is great. So the steps: know about the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain, and just knowing that is going to help you stick with this for long term. Know when you leave your zone and teach your kids like what it is to leave your zone, leave your green zone, and jump into either the red zone or the blue zone. And then finally teach kids how to cool down, but not in the moment of being upset. Talk at a different time about these cool down strategies. Because again, when their upstairs brain, downstairs brain aren't communicating, they can't hear you.
Right. It reminds me back to the movie Inside Out. I think by now all of us have seen the angry one.
Yes.
And when he gets mad, right? Like the other parts, the other emotions try to talk to him, but he just has flames coming out of his head and he sees and hears nothing.
Yeah. And that's how it is.
Right. That is not the time to be teaching calm down strategies. I mean, it's not the only time. Yes, it is a helpful time if you can help talk your child through it, but it's definitely not the most effective.
There's just fire coming out of their heads and there's nothing you can do to put it out.
Flames coming from everywhere.
And if your child struggles with these things and you want a little more help, check out our program for kids, Emotions 911, which teaches your child directly. Like, this is the course for them. It's not a course for you, but you can watch it with them. How to name their emotions, recognize when they're angry, and communicate those feelings with other people. It is like such great life skills that they can take with them for the rest of time.
Yes, it's huge. It helps them in so many different areas because once you can get your emotions in a place where you realize that you do have some impact on them, your communication skills, your ability to understand what you can and can't do, huge positive impacts.
Yes. So remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for stopping by.
Are you looking for something to listen to with your whole family? Then check out 6 Minutes, produced and created by Gen Z Media. With over 200 twisty, cliffhanger-filled episodes, 6 Minutes tells the story of 11-year-old Holiday who is pulled from the icy waters with no memory of who she is or where she came from.
3 years ago, Brinley Pasternak helped the Anders family uncover the truth about Holiday's past. Now she'll need them to help her find the truth about hers. In 6 Minutes Out of Time, the long-awaited sequel, Cyrus Anders is found unconscious near the mysterious Elixir Academy in Florida, and Brinley learns the school may have a shocking connection to her missing mother.
Dive in now and get the most downloaded family audio adventure in history. Follow 6 Minutes wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen early and ad-free with the GZM family subscription.